into the harassment, I reached out to the Baltimore. This is from a Redditor. I reached out to the Baltimore Police Department to ask for their assistance in building a case and getting charges pressed. My staff viewed all his online videos to identify local businesses where the activity occurred. We worked closely with Detective John Gregorio. What a name! To reach out to victims to convince them to file charges. Beyond the detective, who has gone above and beyond, the Baltimore City Attorney's Office and Court Commissioner for working so closely with BPD to ensure the charges were filed. Most importantly, none of this would have been possible without the strong participation of our small business community. Basically, they're saying they just like knocked this guy. Everybody, the entirety of Baltimore came together to say fuck this guy.
Wow.
Which again, I would like to reiterate. Sorry, people from Baltimore. Holy shit.
Murderers, rapists. The guy on 6th Street
Guy-
that sells oranges. They all
A
came.
guy who harasses people on Twitch to the point where the entire city wants to get rid of him. Like an actual supervillain.
All right then. Well.
All he does is just goes around and harass people. Okay. Okay.
My favorite one is he goes to like GameStop or something, and he's like, "This is bad," but he goes to GameStop and he harasses this overweight female employee, and I feel so bad for laughing at it because it's like all directed exclusively at her weight, but the things he said just got me for some reason.
Oh God.
I think at one point no, I can't even remember what he says. I just remember it killed me the first time I saw it.
It's whatever. But I've got my stuff all chit-chatted and like written down here, so.
Alrighty then. I guess we're ready to record then, or start the podcast. Free started the stream, so that's all good. So yeah, I'm ready to record whenever you guys are.
I'm gonna start recording right now. Okay, it's working.
Okay. Let me know when you're all set, then I'll do the 3, 2, 1.
Nah, I'm up. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Alright, 3, 2, 1. Alrighty. Hey, what's up, guys? Happy almost St. Patrick's Day.
Where am I?
Oh yeah, we skipped another time frame, so you missed out on a whole bunch of other stuff. So, so now we're at war. No, I'm kidding. We're not.
Oh
Gosh.
Lord.
Almost at war.
Are we ever?
That's a conversation for another time.
Yeah. Join me on Ryan's politics bunker next week when we discuss the implications of the Russian annexation of well, they haven't annexed it yet, but fuck it.
Right. Like, kudos. Shout out to Ukraine that has been fighting so hard.
No.
Like,
So if we're allowed just a bit to talk about it,
yeah.
the first 3 days of the invasion, I was fully expecting them to be completely wiped out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they turn around and it's like they're getting real good use out of those NLAW rocket launchers, which is hilarious because like the Russians developed a cage on top of their tank specifically to give it standoff so it wouldn't blow their tanks to sky, up into the sky. Unfortunately for them, the cages didn't work.
Mm.
So now this thing that Russia probably spent millions of dollars on this project has been labeled as the Cope cage, which I love. I think that's hilarious.
I just love all the deaths of tanks. I love that the president himself is not backing down, even though he's been offered like 3 times. Like, yo, we could take you to America. Like, you don't have to be here. And he's like, nah, I'm not gonna. I'm also gonna be here, but I'm also going to be on the front lines with the rest of my peeps. So I'm not backing down.
This man and his giant swinging brass testicles.
So yeah, shout out to Ukraine. Hey, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's week? How was everyone in since the last time we spoke? I myself am doing good. So What about you guys?
Still basically the same. Slightly older, slightly more worn down, slightly more traumatized, but overall the same. Such is life, though. Such is life.
Oh, yeah.
True. I'm just basically living life. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of about it. Like, it just like get up and do whatever I do in the morning. Sometimes it's cleaning. Sometimes it's just relaxing. Sometimes it's eating. Sometimes I don't. It's fine. Don't judge me. And then it's work, and then evening stuff, and then it's back to bed, and then repeat until the weekend.
Rinse.
And then weekend it streams.
Yeah. It feels good to like have like a day where you're not doing your normal like spiel, because I know before we started like streaming and everything like that, it was like work, sleep, eat, and do the whole thing over again, and then sometimes
It was
hang out
hella
with
dumb.
people. Yeah. But thank God we're at a point of somewhat randomness where things can be different. So, you know, I guess in a way this is kind of post COVID season. So, you know,
I'm not gonna weigh in because it'll real quick creep into New World Order conspiracy theory.
So yeah.
Just have a full-on segment just for overall conspiracy theories, and you can ramble on.
No
You'll have
idea.
like 20 minutes or so for each person, and be like,
no
"Hey, what's
idea
the
how bad I
newest
wanna do
theory
this."
you've got?" Maybe that's what you should go off and start your streaming for. You'll just stream like podcasty conspiracy
God no,
theory
because
stuff. Just like
I'm
photos
gonna
and
get the
stuff.
Alex Jones Zoomer crowd, and I don't want that.
Oh,
You don't want that?
I don't want anything to do with Alex Jones. I think he's a hack.
Well, then be a better version and become your own thing. Steer them in a different direction. Claim that he's a lizard person or something. I don't know.
He might be.
I like how you went immediately to lizards too. I'm like, that's pretty much all he is just make the freaking frogs gay guy.
Yeah, no, he's also the guy who like defamed Sandy Hook parents after that.
Yeah. That was fucking terrible.
Yep. So moving away from snake oil salesmen who berate parents of dead children, what are we getting up to today, guys?
I had a wonderful question for you guys. It was a very short one. Because surprisingly, I'm very prepared for this podcast. It's amazing. You guys are like more prepared than I am this time around. Proud of you guys. So I wanted to ask the question. What was the weirdest person or weirdest time you've ever been like hit on by another person? I guess I'll get mine's out the way. Mine's is pretty weird. I was working at Planet Fitness still, and they had this thing where you can go to other facilities and go to other places and work for that time being. So I went to this one in upstate, and there was just like a lot of old people there. There was a lot of younger, buffer people, and it's like a mix in between. But there's this one old man in particular that comes up to me sometimes and has like a whole conversation. And he one time tried to show me a skeleton key as if I didn't know what it was, and I just like played it off like, "Yeah, man, yeah, I've never seen that. I'm just a zoomer. I don't know what those things are." And it's so he started going to a whole conversation like, "Yeah, you remind me of one particular man I used to know in my day, and
oh no,
he was a pretty good looking fellow and stuff like that."
Oh no.
And so I'm like,
how old was this guy?
Couldn't be older than 74. Like,
okay.
Oh.
yeah. So
You're about to get trafficked by Jim Free Epstein.
Oh, I wouldn't say that far.
He was getting ready to slide you a $5 and be like, "Hey, next time you come back over here, why don't you do me a little bend over?"
Fucking hands me a old wrapped up piece of candy that he has.
Yeah.
You want some butterscotch?
yeah, like a butterscotch or a peppermint.
Not even like a good peppermint, it's the cinnamon trash ones.
Yeah. And so he's like, yeah, you're a nice fellow, you know that. And then he grabbed my hand and like caressed it a little bit. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're a pretty nice man too. Hope to see you around and everything. And then he walked off. And then my coworker behind me said, "That old man just hit on you?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's my new sugar daddy."
At least you played it off well.
Yeah. And she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "No." Although, I do need some money. And so, yeah, that was like the weirdest like time I've ever been like hit on by an old man, nonetheless. So, in a way, it feels good that I'm attracted by someone, huh? But what about you guys? Who or what was a time that you've been hit on and it was like really weird? Augie, you want to go?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. So the first thing I can think of is back when you and I, Caleb, were off at our quote college. And there is this one character here. I'm gonna call him a character because that's kind of what he was. And you pretty much know exactly the guy who I'm talking about here. He is now. I'm all for you going off and liking the things that you like and going off and living your best life and whatnot. But please don't try to force it out on other people, and please don't judge other people and hate on other people for not liking the same stuff as you, and for asking you to respect your personal space. This guy, just to give you a little bit of an idea here, the closest thing I could probably think of is probably a form of what is phrased as a incel or a neckbeard without a full neckbeard. Super into the whole like My Little Pony overly obsessive fandom.
Wait, before you continue, allow me to get my incel bingo card because I feel like I'm going to be able to get it really easy.
Oh my god. Does that exist or did you just make one?
No, it's a gag.
Okay.
We could definitely make one.
You know what? That's merch idea. We can make an incel bingo card T-shirt or something.
Oh my god. Anyway, this
friends.
Do you hate your friends and want to alienate others? Buy our merch.
Perfect for family gatherings, especially Christmas.
I was gonna say, tired of your family loving you.
Buy now and you get a free mason jar. Mason jar. I've
got one of those in my cupboard. I got one ready to go. Here's your mason jar. It used to have jam in it. We ate it.
Or other jams. Sorry, go ahead.
So this guy is like overly obsessively into the whole My Little Pony thing, which again, I'll reiterate, like you're into what you're into, that's fine and whatnot, but like don't shove it all, like force it all into our faces and whatnot. He always was like not quite wearing the fedora. He might have had a fedora, I don't remember. It's been like 4 years now. Long ponytail.
He didn't have fedora, but he had fedora energy. Okay.
Oh, fedora energy. Yeah. Oh no, he had the like newspaper boy cap. I think that was part of the style. If I remember.
And
right.
a ponytail.
Worst one.
Yeah.
And a pony. Oh, dude.
Yep. It's got the long ponytail.
Oh no, I don't.
Shirt with the leather belt over top of jeans. and they always cut off a little bit too high at the ankle, which, like, some people could rock that style, but, like, for him it wasn't, like, fully working, but whatever, it's fine. Anyway, so he would basically go around, and he, like, for the first day that we all were introduced, he's like, "You're a girl? And you game? Oh my god, I'm in love with you." He latched onto me so hard. I literally felt so smothered by him. And he would not respect personal boundaries or space. He would come around and he wanted to touch my face all the time. He was like, "Oh, hey, look at you. You're so fucking cute." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm trying to draw. I'm here for art stuff and to study that type of thing. Like, leave me alone." And he'd be like, "Oh, but you're so adorable. Just look at you." And then, like, he'd just shove his finger all up in here and just be like, "Boop," on my fucking nose. And I'm like, "I'm not a cat. I may act like one."
This man
but no, you
unironically
have no
booped a
permission to
stranger.
touch my fucking nose. No, get out. And then if I ever had any negative reaction to him or anything, he would revert himself down into a, "Oh, woe was me. My life is so horrible. My dad drinks and constantly abuses me and can't take care of himself, but I can't get out of the situation because I'm his only caretaker type of thing, and I hate my life and blah blah blah. You're just a shining light into it." And I'm like, "Bro,
Wow.
figure your shit out before you go after someone else to fix all your fucking problems."
Look, I'm playing the world's smallest violin.
Like, I hold no huge ill will. I'm just very uncomfortable around him. If I do see him again, I hope I don't. But I hope that his life overall goes well. I hope that he gets his shit figured out. I hope his dad gets better and such. Like, but seriously, dude, respect people's other, like, boundaries and their own personal space. If COVID taught us anything,
Yeah.
I hope that I taught you at least something.
Like, okay, I get you had a rough childhood or rough whatever patch thing, but yeah, that's not a good excuse to start touching people at all. Like,
Without even asking, either.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is the without permission thing. And it's like, so I've known incel types because they used to be all I could really befriend in high school. Not you, Caleb. You were cool.
what the fuck did
you? You're fine, my friend. But no, fucking. I used to only
Tips my
befriend
hat to you.
incels. I used to only befriend incels, so I'm used to that like mentality and stuff, and it's so common. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I definitely used to know a couple of I want to say a bunch of them in high school and a little bit into college, but just not all. I disassociated myself from them. As soon as I realized, okay, they're just doing the same thing. They're all blaming, "Oh, I can't get this kind of girl because they only like this kind of guy and whatever and stuff like that." I'm like, no, because you're not the type
You're
of
just
guy.
being a creep.
Right.
Yeah, you're just being a fucking creep. It's not because, like, we're into a bad boy or anything like that. No. Like, I'm with a super fucking nerd right now because he's fucking sweet. It's like
Exactly.
everything. Like,
It's
I
all
legit would just, like, swell up with happiness, just the random shit that he does for me. And it's just like, you don't have to be super good looking, super muscular, have all the money in the world, be intelligent as fuck in order to win over your girl.
Right.
Like, just be yourself and don't try to be something that you're just trying to force onto things that you think that they'll like. Well, else is a gift. Then it's like, hey, here's a gift. But, like, don't shove it down their throat.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the person that you're talking about, if I remember right, he kept using that whole tragic backstory to justify the person that he is. And cool, we all have our, like, backstories that, for the person that we are and stuff like that. But you can always be a different type of person. You can always change as a person. The reason that you are is because you're making that choice to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I met a lot of people who've got like divorced parents who've had abusive spouses and stuff like that, but they choose to still change as a person. Hopefully he has learned over time. But he's just, from what I saw, he was like well into like his 30s or something like that. And it just feels like he never really learned anything. So hopefully, him going being in that space has made him more social, and therefore he can like
Totally.
move on. So
Yeah. Again, like I hold no huge ill will against him. I just hope he figures his shit out.
right,
And he also made me very uncomfortable. So
yeah,
I would not like to be around you.
yeah.
No offense. Okay, maybe just a little bit, but that's because you fucking touch my nose whenever I'm like, no, fuck off, don't touch me.
Haha, boop.
And you still did it.
Didn't he help like take some stuff to your car one time, or like?
Maybe?
Speak.
I don't know. They gave us like a 20-pound big old like 3-footer case to drag around. That's like, you have to take it every day. And it's like, no, you don't.
Right.
But that's whatever. It's whatever.
What about you, Ryan? What's a time that you've been hit on by a person weirdly or weird?
I've been wanting to talk about this for the past month. This has been on my mind for as long as it's been over. It is over, thank God, and it's a recent development. It being over. So it wasn't necessarily hit on, but it was definitely a strange interaction with a person who didn't respect personal boundaries. Now, for those who are uninitiated as to what I do, I make comics. I make a comic using a very niche art medium, that being, Gary's Mod. Not a lot of people make actual art with it, so it's something I'm trying to put. Anyway, I picked up a guy who joined a Discord that I was in for Gmod, like assets, so maps, models, all that type of stuff. And on New Year's Eve, this past New Year's Eve, we all got together to play Counter-Strike. And as we're doing that, there's a guy in the call that I don't necessarily know. I heard his voice and I hear him talking to me. I just don't quite remember, if I've ever seen him. And his name is Vurt. VURT. So I've never I didn't know that name, so I was just sitting there BSing. This is all on my first interaction with this guy is recorded. That's how it's on YouTube. I'm not gonna link the video because we all say a lot of things that are really cancelable. But or I guess I can, for evidence sake. But this is the first time he's ever talked to me, and I'm sitting there. I'm talking about oh, you guys are getting drunk. I'll get drunk. I'll bring out my desk rum as a joke because I joke. And he goes, oh, that's something like a World War I general would have. And I thought that was a witty line. So it was like, oh, all right, yeah, I'll talk to you. You're not just some 14-year-old Asperg kid screaming into the mic. So we'll entertain that. Anyway, we start talking, and then eventually, I think the next day, me and my other buddy are playing Ready or Not, and he hits me up. He's like, "Hey, I have that game. Can I join you guys?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. It's good." And we played Ready or Not for a little bit, had some fun. But the entire time he's like talking to me about my comic.
Okay.
And every time my other friend would try to say something, he would cut in and try to say something funny. Which I was like, okay, so that's kind of annoying. Just a little bit. But it continues on as normal. We don't really think anything of it. I learned that he's like a United States Marine reservist. And that he has a lot of knowledge of military subjects. So it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, hey, maybe I can, pick his brain, figure out some of the ins and outs of the things I have questions about, and improve my work overall using a subject matter expert. I've been wanting somebody like that for ages. But so it was cool to talk to. He's also South African, and he spoke a bit of it, Afrikaans, which was really cool because that's also a language I think is interesting.
Isn't Afrikaans a mixture of 5 different languages in one or something?
Yeah.
Really?
Huh. I think the most prominent influence is Dutch.
Dutch, okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Anyways, so we continue to talk. He continues to BS with us. We play. What did we all play together? We played Rising Storm 2 together. That was cool. But over time, he's starting to get me into calls by myself. And there's like one or two people that I'll actually go into a call to with myself, just because it doesn't get awkward, you know. Like you guys have been in voice chats where it's like just you and somebody else, and it feels super weird that it's just two people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's just the energy's not there. So I started talking to him. You know, my other friend was busy or doing whatever because like I was bored, and I figured I should try to break out of my social shell. Well, it starts to get kind of funny when one night we're sitting there talking, and he brings up, he's like, "Hey, I had this idea for like a fictional country or something, and I've been wanting to put it in a work of fiction or something, but I can't write. I don't know how to write good, and I don't really make good art yet. And I don't think it's up to par." And I go, "Oh well, hey, I'm always looking for stuff to put into my comic to add a bit of a twist to it because I did it once and it turned out pretty well." So he starts telling me, it's like, okay, so immediately you see the lights come on in his eyes.
Okay.
Immediately you just you can hear it in his voice. He has been waiting for me to give him the go ahead for probably weeks. So I tell him like, yeah, dude, I'll hear it. And he goes, okay, so it's a fictional African country called the Greater Ferunian Federation. And I'm like, okay, well, what's up with it? Like, why is it a superpower? And he goes, well, that's the cool part. You see, in 1899, we kicked out all the black people.
No.
Oh my god. Oh.
No.
Is he talking about gentrification?
No, we're talking about worse than gentrification. We're talking about the subsidizing of leaving the country. They paid them to leave in his fiction.
Okay.
So his fiction is that the settlers in South Africa and Rhodesia, the colonizers, which is the verbiage people like to use, they were not. Well, they actually managed to win over a good amount of the population, to the point where so please, I beg anybody who hates me, use a clip from this podcast because I'm going to say a lot of things that are going to be hilarious out of context.
Oh my god.
Anyway, the black people were so thankful for the technological advances of the white people that they willingly put themselves into servitude in this country.
What?
Clip number 1 that's going to end up at my fucking canceling hearing.
Well, look at you. It's not coming from you. It's coming from this guy's story. Like, what the fuck?
So he goes on to explain that through the colonization process, the military managed to pick up more and more volunteers, and it got more and more advanced. And then by around the time of 1958 to 1962, he said, is when the battle against communism in Africa got big, which is where apparently it would start to snowball in this fiction because Americans would start coming over and giving equipment and stuff to help fight communism in Africa. So that was his. Eventually, they win. The Cold War ends, and they establish this giant nation. Now they've basically conquered everything from South Africa up to the Sahara, and anything north of that, they're not interested in because those are Middle Easterners. And he tells me that it is 85% white ethnostate that comprises Africa, and black people are still there. Apartheid is still a thing, though, and they indenture themselves to servitude in order to make enough money to move out of the country. And
This sounds like Tevinter with extra steps. Like, what the fuck?
To me, so immediately I notice a clash with my ideologies. Who would think? But to me, he's proposing this as a story element to a story that I've got going on. That what the heck is on my leg?
That's a good story. I like that.
It's a great story.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
What the hell is
weird.
going
It's,
on?
it's those damn parachuting spiders.
Oh God, don't say that.
Oh.
So he said, as an element to my story, this could be added. My story is about the American Civil War,
What's up?
a second American Civil War that happens in 2025.
Okay.
So I don't exactly see, like, immediately I'm like, okay, well, this is conflicting, It's not about America, for one. Number two, I'm not a shithead racist who wants to, like, put that into the air.
Mhm.
Fuck that.
But the idea of an advanced, like, African nation assisting certain parts of the United States in their efforts to fight the government would be cool.
Yeah, it's
So I'm like, I'm gonna
Or
take
really, like, any nation, really. But yeah,
exactly.
it's cool.
it's
It's
Wakanda, like
Yeah,
Advanced
it was
City.
straight
Yeah.
up just Wakanda, but like racist.
Yeah.
So I do start picking bits and pieces from it, like the aesthetic of the uniform that a soldiers wore was really cool, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna steal that. And then he was talking about, like, oh well, these certain guns are used by this country, and I'm like, you know what, I've been wanting to put World War II guns in, we'll do that.
Mhm.
And then it's just to the point he feels it's. I'm telling him I'm gonna put stuff in too, and I'm actually making like assets for it, like the uniforms. I had to texture myself, but
oh, nice.
he's starting to feel like he has some ownership over the project, as you would. It was my mistake for implying any sort of ownership, but he just keeps talking to me about shit, and he's like, it gets worse somehow when he starts talking about, like, oh well, if you're gonna put them in the comic, they have to be really brutal and, like, dark. They wear all black and they, like, execute prisoners of war. So I'm like, like I swear to God, this person exists. I'm not making this up. A dark, edgy racist wants certain people to be eliminated with, like, gas and flamethrowers and stuff in a story. Need I remind you about a second American Civil War that happens in 2025?
Oh my god.
I am not that surprised, but I was not expecting such a racism coming from this guy.
Do you want to know where it comes from? It comes from Kansas.
Kansas.
He's a Kansasite. I learned that when he was sitting there talking to me and my other buddy about where he lived. He couldn't read a room very well, if you couldn't tell. But he starts talking to us and he's like, yeah, here's the place I live, and he just pops up a Google Map stream and he shows us our town. And as he's going around town, he's like, whoa, that's my dad's Pontiac. Wow, it's on the Google car. Wow. I used to go to this burger place to get a burger when I was 12, and me and my sister would walk down there, and it would be, man, the past is great, isn't it? If you know me, you know I can't stand nostalgic bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm sitting there getting annoyed, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it's whatever. And I'm talking to my other buddy about something we're doing, and he just keeps cutting in. He's like, whoa, hey, do you know what this spot is? And he gets really quiet. And I know he's expecting an answer, so me being the good little theater kid I was like, yes, and he goes, well, this is the place that my buddy got found dead. And at the time, I didn't think he was a complete bullshitter, so I was like, oh shit, what? And I paused what I was doing, and I go look, and he's like, yeah, this field right here, and he, like, zooms in on just some field in Kansas, like a fence post. He zooms in on a fence post in the middle of a field in Kansas, and he goes, yeah, this is where they found my friend dead. And I'm like, oh shit, well, I'll listen to this. As a Marine reservist, he has to go out on drills every weekend or every other weekend. I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me, Marine reservists. One moment. All right. So he starts like, yeah, we were out on exercises, like right here, which I don't know. I don't think the Marine Corps does maneuvers like a mile northwest of an occupied center of, like, just a tiny town or whatever. But I'm not going to question what our government does. What I am going to question is the validity of this fucking story, because it is straight up a copypasta. A creepypasta. A copypasta of a creepypasta. If somebody can
Okay.
find me the story this comes from, I will pay you $5. That is on God. If you can find me where this story comes from, I'll pay you $5. He said that during maneuvers, his friend went out to piss. It was late at night. The moon was not out. It was very cloudy. He said they were standing right outside this cemetery near their Humvee, when all of a sudden their friend gets up and says, "I gotta go piss," and he walks out into the woods. And they sit there for an hour bullshitting, and they somehow don't notice that their friend is gone.
Mm.
And this is where it goes. Yeah, he was a young private. I'd only known him for a bit, but he was nice enough, and
Oh my god.
he was a good man. Anyways, apparently this guy comes back an hour later, and he sits down and he doesn't say anything, and then he just stands up and walks out into the woods again. Well, come to find out, the next morning he's completely gone. He's not been there all night. Once he walked out into the woods, he walked out. They search the woods for this guy. That, mind you, I'm looking at it on a map. It is 70 acres. 70 acres of land that the Marine Corps fails to locate one of their missing men in. And then what ends up happening to his friend, apparently, is months later, some hikers would find bones in the hills under some trees, and they would DNA test them and find out that it was the missing guy, and that he had been taken by a fucking Wendigo. He unironically told me that a buddy of his was taken by a Wendigo while on a government assignment.
Okay, so many cliches in the beginning of that story.
For real. For real.
One, the whole he was a good guy, he was a good buddy. That sounds like many like army type movies.
Yeah, no. So you'll start to notice that a bit more.
And then it's a dark, shady night or dark, foggy night. Every other like scary story. Come on now.
It all set the tone. It's all dark and creepy. You gotta feel like you're not safe and you can't see anything. And it's like, oh yeah, no. And then creepy shit happens. Ooh.
Yeah, it was hilarious to sit there and listen to it, because like you ever have that moment where you just slowly start to realize something, and it just dawns on you, and you get that fucking pit in your stomach.
Oh,
yep.
He's faking shit.
You watch this. If you had a camera on me, you would watch the smile go from my face to a complete frown, and then to like looking like my profile picture right now, which is depressed Pim from Smiling Friends. That's how it was, because I was like, oh, he's been lying to me this entire fucking time.
Oh my god.
He's been lying to me. Well, he probably lied about. Okay, so his dad, by the way, that was an interesting one. His dad was a Rhodesian. He was a Rhodesian bush warrior who wore blackface when he stalked communists at night.
Whoa.
There's a photo of his dad. Asterisk. There's a photos of his dad, because if you Google Rhodesian infantry, it's like one of the third photos that pops up. So he showed us that, and he's like, "Yeah, that's my dad." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's cool. That's cool. It's not really all that cool with the blackface and stuff, but it's cool."
Right.
Anyway, he said his dad. All he ever did was talk about his dad. You know, he talked about how his dad was so cool, and he killed so many N-words, and I'm not joking. He said that at one point.
Oh my god.
And he was talking about like, yeah, he doesn't talk about the war too much, but he told me all of this crazy shit about it. Which was funny. But I think the moment that I started to become fed up with his presence, because I'm a very tolerant man. I can sit through a lot. I have the patience of I have a lot of patience for people, because I've been there. I've been completely socially inept too. I know what it's like. So the night that it kind of he lost his luster for me was the night that I was talking about, or my girlfriend came over. And in the middle of gaming, she comes over and we're like saying, "Hey, what's up? How you been? Blah, blah, blah." And then I'm sitting there playing and I say something really, really stupid. And my friends start laughing at it. She goes, "You guys are all dumb." And he goes, "Who is that? Who is that, Ryan?" And I go, "Well, that's my girlfriend." He goes, "Oh man, oh wow, I bet your girlfriend does. I bet your girlfriend thinks this is funny, and I bet your girlfriend doesn't think that's funny at all. And like he's just, it's like a child. It's like a child trying to impress an adult, is what it is.
What
So the next
care?
day he texts me. We're in a VC, and he sends me a message. He's like, dude, my girlfriend's really sick. I don't know what's going on. Like she might die. And I go, oh no, that's not good. I hope she doesn't die. And he goes, thank you, I appreciate that. And then he just like goes on like nothing. And well, you obviously kind of know where this is ending.
This reminds me of an experience I had too. Like, what the hell? Now it's turned into like one of those, and it's like, bro. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend, who you just know about, is now dying. Please give me sympathy. She doesn't exist. He forgot about her the moment that I stopped talking about my girlfriend.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyway, so he goes like, oh, what the fuck was it that he said? Oh, no. Okay, so my girlfriend was like, what do you want for dinner tonight? I would go, because you guys gotta understand something about, because this is the one thing I will say that might be cancelable.
Oh god.
That is out of my own voice. I'm blacker than she is.
Okay.
I love you, baby. I'm sorry, but I said, what the fuck is it? I go, hey, you want to get like, you want to get food from this chicken place, or like, am I feeling blacker than you tonight? I said that as a joke, and she laughs, and it's all good. But then like, he goes, oh, you're dating a black girl, and I was like, yes, and he goes, oh, that's a shame.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He says, he
That.
starts talking about like, I like black girls and all, but there's certain things about them I don't like, and I'm sitting there taking stock of everything he says, and I'm like, yeah, well, fucking, you're an idiot.
I would have just blocked him at that point.
That's when it
lying
lost
and
it.
shit. Just be like, all right, I'm out. You're lying to me. You're just pulling all this bullshit, telling me fake stuff.
No. I
Block
gave my friend. I gave my friend the honor of exposing him, which was fucking awesome.
Oh,
damn.
But so yeah, he goes, it's a shame that you're dating a black woman, and I'm like, well, that's really fucked up to say, but it's all right. I don't have anybody else to play games with, so we go on, and then eventually my other friend starts getting sick of him. Every time we're in a call, he's like, dude, I can't fucking stand this guy. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna get rid of him? And like we were considering just never talking to him again, but the problem is he likes to start shit when people ignore him. It happened once in another server. I asked his friend, where he was ignored by one of the people he was talking to, and then he started like saying all sorts of nasty shit about them, and he bullied them out. So I was afraid of that, because I like all the people that I associate with online, except for people like that. I genuinely consider a lot of the people I meet online to be my friends, so if they started to hate me, it would actually be a bit distressing, especially on the word of some loser. So I'm sitting there trying to think of how to get rid of him, and he keeps getting us in calls, because we're like, we can't ignore him, because he's gonna do the thing. So anyway, one night my buddy, just rock solid dude, he loses it. He says, I'm fucking tired of dealing with this guy. I'm tired of him lying about his service. I'm tired of hearing about his fucking dad. I'm tired of hearing about the goddamn Pontiac and the Skinwalkers. All right? So he goes off on him. And he starts saying like, I want to see your fucking DD-214. I want to see your discharge papers. I want to see your fucking CAC card. I want to see everything that proves that you're not lying about your fucking military service, because I don't believe you.
Or anything about his life that he's told you about in the first place.
Right.
That's
Or,
also another thing he said.
everything.
He said, I want to see a newspaper clipping of them finding a disemboweled Marine in this village, because I know there is one. There has to be.
Well,
there's no way
especially
that that's
being
not
in
national
Kansas,
news.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly. What other
No
news
offense.
do you have?
Oh my god, you remind me.
no
of that
offense to
story.
Kansas, it's not a location thing. It's like typically villages more have like a newspaper type of thing versus like,
Exactly.
hey, huge social
Right.
media stuff.
I mean, you got Topeka, I think. Isn't that Kansas?
Uh,
I don't know what happens
I
in
think so.
Topeka, but that's a big place. And there's Kansas City, which is like not great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he goes off on him and he demands to see all this proof. What is his instant? Is it okay? So let's play a game. It's a multiple choice question. Does he respond to this with righteous indignation and start flaming my friend, who he has every right to do if he's actually who he says he is, because he's being challenged by a fucking 18-year-old Canadian dickhead? Or
Okay.
does he B, come back and say, I don't owe you an explanation for anything, I am who I say I am? Or does he C, just drop everything and fucking erase his entire online presence because he was discovered? I'll give you a hint. It's fucking C.
I
Oh
thought it was
yeah.
gonna be D, all the above.
I was gonna
Just
say
blame him,
no,
and then he'll
the
deny
moment,
everything, and
the
then he'll
exact-
delete everything.
The exact second my friend sent that message, he fucking blocks everybody, unfriends everybody, leaves every server he's in.
Oh, so he went scorched earth. Like
He was like
Ah.
that bit. I can't remember what movie it is, but the police are coming in to arrest this hacker. He takes magnets to all his computers and fucking microwaves his hard. It was that. Like, he had been found out, and the loudest minority of the server was going to start screaming about it.
Oh my god, that's
Oh.
So he vented. He just blew himself out fast as a speeding bullet, to the point where like I sent a message to him 5 maybe 10 minutes after he had been asked about his service. I was blocked as well. I had been freed from this fucking curse by virtue of my completely just by virtue of just a complete dickhead flying off the handle. So thank you, Slav. You're fucking awesome, dude.
You know what? I think he knew it was coming at some point. He was ready, so he had that button like.
He
waiting
had
to-
his disappearance hotkeyed.
He spent like a month like typing it out, making sure all the forms are correct, and like doing this research. Called up the local branch, be like, "Yo, where are the things that like prove that you're actually in the service and whatnot?"
He told me a
It was,
bunch
like,
of other stories.
Steam
But
docked it. Or
he
stream
told me a
docked
bunch
it.
of other stories about the time he went to Africa in the Marines, but I don't want to actually say any of those. Yeah, I know they're not real, but it's not good stuff to hear.
Yeah, no. Like, especially with stuff that he was saying before about his fictional place.
In so few words, erotic kill fantasies is about the 3 words I'd use to describe it.
Oh no.
So he's just he was completely fucked in the head, dude. Rip Bozo, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, you're a fucking loser, dude.
Oh wow! What a
So, children, what are the takeaways from this story?
Don't believe jack shit from a random person who says he was in the army, unless
Bingo.
he has all the papers.
Bingo, 1 point. Another thing I learned is that I should not be too nice to tell people to go away.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Just be straight up, fuck off, and they'll fuck off.
Yeah, especially because he was getting really annoying, and I was telling my buddy, I'm like, dude, we should get rid of him. He's a fucking like dickhead. And I don't like talking to him.
And you now know that as soon as that person talks about fantasizing gentrification or eliminating a group of people for profit, that's when you should disassociate yourself from them entirely. So
Like, okay, bro, like the high tech country type of deal thing, that's pretty cool, but the rest of this shit, dumpster fire and like nuke that and like throw it away and like shoot it into space and like dump it in the Mariana Trench.
Just
After all the rest of them.
make a deal with Satan to erase it from the continuity of human time.
Yeah, but what about the other universes?
Those two. The multiverse theory distresses me now, knowing that like if it's true and every reality is conceivable, that's out there.
Part of me thinks that kind of theory doesn't really exist because, say there is a multiverse, okay, How come nobody from a different universe has like hopped over from to our regular election at least? There's been like
That's the
instances
thing.
that
Unless.
That's the thing. When they do, it creates the Mandela effect, and things begin to shift because our realities are crashing.
I had one of those just last week.
What was it?
So I was going through and doing stuff on, like, with working or whatever, and I some of my work is just, like, secretarial stuff, like inputting times for different people, like, schedules and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So I had a name, and it was popped up on a certain website to where they get government assistance or whatnot, and I had to put in their schedules, that way they know how much time to bill for or whatnot and to pay us for. And, I swore there was a name that was on there. Next day, I overhear in like a meeting saying, "No, that name has never been on there. That name's like never been part of that program or whatnot." And then I went back and looked in there, and it wasn't there anymore. I'm like, I swear this person's name was here. They're like, I have a fairly unique name. It's a new name to me, so all the rest of these ones here are like regulars, if you will. It's like, this is new. I swear it was here.
I've had a few of those. Not like Mandela effect where it's like, oh, this has changed, but like I swear to God, my apartment might be haunted because I set things down and they legitimately disappear 10 seconds later.
Ooh, no. I'm out.
I sat down. I remember distinctly one night I was lighting a candle, and I fucking set my lighter down. I looked at the spot and I set it down, and I said, "My lighter is there." And then I turned around to put the candle on the thing. I look back and I go, "My lighter is no longer there. What the fuck?"
Oh my god. I think I messaged you one night, Ryan, where I'm like, dude, my fucking apartment is haunted. Because it was like in the middle of the night, and my Infinity Gauntlet, not connected to anything at all, or wasn't anywhere near anything, they'll just bump up against it, just randomly turns on in the middle of the night. And I just fucking woke up in sweats hearing a... And I'm like, what the fuck was that? I looked to my right, my fucking gauntlet's on. I'm like, how the fuck did it turn on?
Like, nothing else was affected. It's not plugged in or anything. It runs off of batteries or something.
Yeah, it's just batteries, and it was like full open hand. And so nothing could have just like snapped open or anything like that. So it was like fully engaged by itself. And
so have you tested the batteries to see if maybe it's just like a low battery type of reaction?
I've taken out the batteries once, and then I like put it back in there, and it lasted for another like 2 or 3 months before I had to replace them. So it was fully charged. So
okay,
something must have affected it. And my theory also is sometimes we have like power outages in my apartment. A lot of like electrical stuff goes out, and there's like a huge like grid in our area that just affects like electronics even when they're not plugged in properly. That's my theory, at least. But otherwise, nothing should have affected like the gauntlet itself. So shit's spooky, man.
I wouldn't assume, like, if they're just like plain type of like Duracell batteries, I wouldn't think that something that affects a power grid that's like land in everything would affect something that's completely separate battery wise.
Yeah,
the only way that would affect anything like that is if the rest of your stuff with batteries and such is going off.
Right. So the only thing, yeah, and the stuff that I do have batteries in are just controllers, remotes, and then I do have a fan that's like battery powered that would have turned on if that was the problem. So the other theory is just maybe something was loose in there and it turned on and snapped itself a little bit loose, but otherwise I examined it a bunch of times and nothing should have turned it on. So weird. So yeah, that was my haunted.
Now, Caleb, I do have a question.
Yes.
In the course of making a hilarious 3 a.m. YouTube video, did you happen to call a number that was labeled Thanos?
No.
I'm sorry, that was all I was thinking about the entire time. I was like, that reminds me of that video that fucking weird guy made where he's like, oh, I'm going to call Thanos at 3 a.m. And then he like, a big purple head just pops out of the corner and he goes, and he fucking like screams.
Oh my god! Have you seen the video where it's I'm going to commit harsh crime. I'm going to bust nut in the water tower, and, and you see him creepily get close to the water tower.
That's horrifying.
Okay, well, so, what are you gonna do next? Wait, did he have taking your project that you were currently?
Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. Is he was trying to influence my project by just sitting there talking to me, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea." Like, yeah, no. So another moral to the story I'd like to say is if a person sits there and tries to influence the work that you're doing, and it's not out of like criticism and it feels more like they're trying to just toss shit at you, just don't interact with them.
No.
Stop interacting with them. They're terrible.
Distance yourself. Learn, love, live. So okay, well, thank you for that terrible story about racists. I hope you never experience that kind of thing
Okay,
again.
so was he only doing this to get a little bit closer to you?
I don't know.
Okay, because initially the question was the weirdest time that someone to hit on you.
Yeah, no, that I tried to be in the beginning where I was like, yeah, he didn't necessarily hit on me. Well, okay, so he would do this thing, right? Where when we were sitting there talking and I said something funny, we'd all have a little bit of a laugh, and then he'd go, ha 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 ha, I love you.
Oh.
Which to me, I
Okay.
thought that was his attempt at humor. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
So
Okay.
it's a good thing you brought that up because I was thinking him pretty much trying to get your approval was in a way of yeah, man, I love you, a little bit of bromance, but secretly he may be
maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't judge. I'm pretty as fuck. So I totally get it.
Just see him sitting at his desk or whatever to just start doing hair flips and the
Yeah,
entire time
exactly.
he's
He
been
takes
talking,
his-
he's
he
got a
takes
fucking brush in his hand. He's just doing little stuff to his cheeks and doing
He takes
little
his
things
little-
to his eyes.
His little greasy undercut Nazi haircut, and he starts twirling it in his finger.
So you want to go camping?
Yeah, no, that was he was like, dude, we could meet up. We're 3 states away. I'm like, no. That was one of the few times where I was very specifically just like, no, I don't want to do
No.
that. Thank you. I'm
Just
good.
nah. No. I thought I heard you say that you were pretty as fuck. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you are here at the podcast talking about stuff, and you've got this big old blush brush or this foundation brush and powder and whatnot. You're just like, oh yeah, so this one time, I'm pretty as fuck. Hey, look at you. Look at the screen, and it's just anime.
It's just my
flowers
reflection.
and
It's just my
sparkles
sweaty,
and-
my sweaty, ashen face on the black reflection of my screen.
Oh my god.
Reminds me of the freaking Ryan Reynolds movie when he was that really fat kid in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And he's looking at the mirror at the very beginning, and he's so dramatic and super into it, doing his Ryan Reynolds thing,
Oh my god.
singing along with the whatever that love song was. I'm picturing something like that, but super drag or your sweaty, pale, pasty face.
No, it is
something along
legitimately
those lines.
it is a picture of me that has been, those shots in SpongeBob episodes where they just highly detail everything. It's that, but it's just a picture of me. That's it. That's
It's,
what I look like
super
when I say I
zoomed
look
in.
pretty as fuck. I'm trying to hold myself together with emotional band-aids, god damn it. I am beautiful. I am worthy.
You are, damn it. You are.
Oh man. But
So
no,
are you
so
people
that-
who are watching or listening or whatnot. You are gorgeous, and just keep working on
everybody's-
yourself.
Everybody's great.
Do
Except
it for
that.
you.
Except for you, Vert. You're
But yeah,
not,
except
you're not
for that
great.
asshole.
You're less than great.
Right.
I would give you a 2.5 stars on Yelp if I could.
You cannot work those boots, sir. Other people can, just not you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, other people pull it off just fine. You don't. I'm sorry. Your legs are too short.
3 snaps in a circle, whatever.
You can't. You can't fit your fucking cankles into those Doc Martens. I'm very sorry.
Oh god, I now picture someone shoving their fucking ankles.
I never saw a photo of what this guy looked like, right? But I always imagined that he was like. Have you ever seen the Oblongs?
Yes.
He was a male version of Helga.
Oh yeah.
That's immediately what I pictured.
Where he looks like he's a fucking
He's a triangle on legs.
yeah. God. So yeah, moving on. So Augie, you had some stuff like happen to you over the past week. You went to a convention.
Yes. I went to a fairly local Comic-Con.
Okay.
Yeah, it was being held at a mall, and I'm not going to say specifically which one it is, just because I'm actually going to bash a little bit on it, to be honest, but, like, it's okay, because overall, overall review or experience with it is, it did not feel like my type of con.
Mm-hmm.
It did not feel like my type of convention. It just didn't highly interest me. It didn't have things that I would go out and go see. Like, I'm not really that huge of a shopping type of person, unless when it comes to cute as fuck clothes.
Yeah.
Or cosplays. Like, I've got, like, a literal list of just stuff. Is like, buy this, buy this, buy this, I need this. But when it comes to comic books, like, literal comic books and things, like, I'll go through, like, a vendor list here soon, but, like, just physical objects I don't really need unless I have a huge desire or it's like a limited edition something that really like means something to me or something I can really fangirl over.
Yeah.
So like nothing wrong with the kind of con that it was. It's just I did not enjoy it as much as I thought that I would or expected that I would. So initially we were being there because my boyfriend runs a business. And he ended up going off and being a vendor for the place. But unfortunately, I was told that there was a funeral for my family and such, for some of my family for that day, so I couldn't really go off and work it. And then it ended up changing, funeral was rescheduled, I was given the wrong information, so I could go as a cosplayer. So I'm like, hey, cool, like it all worked out. I can go and just kind of hang and not have to work or whatnot, but like I'll be here in case something needs helping. So I go in there, and I went with a couple of people here. I went as the first day, because it was a 2-day one. First day I went in as M4A1 here. She is not quite poster girl, but like one of the main waifus, if you will, of this mobile game called Girls Frontline. And it's kind of a waifu collector, plus personification of guns, plus strategy board game. And a little bit of resource management. If that makes sense.
Right. Like you had described it almost like it was like a Pokemon game almost, or like
more like the Summoner's War, but not quite cards that you collect. Or
okay.
I haven't played like a lot of the other ones, but like I think a similar one might be like Azur Lane or Cancoli or Cancol or like Kantai Collection. One of those here. Anyway, so I went the first day as M4 here, and it was a gift and it was purchased. So everything I wore was pre-purchased and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, this is like one of my most fall cosplays here. I've got shoes, I got hair, I got the whole overall outfit here. I have a fucking prop because it's a like a laser tag gun here. And like, if you know your guns, it doesn't look like a real gun. If you don't know your guns, it looks like a real gun type of thing. So. So I'm walking around with all those and whatnot, and I'm running through the con and whatnot here, and there's a fair amount of vendors. I'd say there'd be about 80 different booths, maybe. So it was pretty decent sized, but it could have just been, maybe more like 40. It just felt like 80 because there were so many people there. So there was artists that were there. They like had stuff that was like on canvas, so it was like paint and markers, colored pencils. There's someone who did like Photoshop digital art stuff. I didn't really see any pastel or like chalk based type of art, but like kind of more digital or like more wet materials, if you will. There were just a fuck ton of comic vendors. They just had like boxes and boxes of just stuff that were collectible comics. There were like game shop vendor spots there, so they sold like different board games, like Pokemon, sports cards. There's tons of trading cards. There was I don't know how many dice vendors. There was so many D&D dice vendors and just like plain regular dice vendors. They're like, hey, here's this. Hey, here's this. There was very little food options. There's only like 2 stands for food.
Oh, it wasn't one of those cons where they had like a whole like usually cons I go to they have chicken tenders and burger stands like set up or like if you ever go to Youmacon they have like a downstairs area where they have like Burger King and stuff like that set up and people usually like get stuff from there for the cheap so it wasn't anything like that. It was just like actual stands with people selling food and that's it.
The vendors were literally like 6-foot foldable tables with a cloth over them, and then here is your area. Bring everything else. The food vendors that were there was this chick who like ran a bakery. So she had like cookies and like chocolate covered pretzels, and there's this other place that I think what they do is they deep freeze or flash freeze different candy, and it causes them to expand and kind of like blow up and explode. And they call it like astronaut food because it's dehydrated candy.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, so like there's like blown up exploded Skittles, which are basically Skittles, but they taste and like melt in your mouth kind of like Whoppers. Those are really good. I mean, it's just like exploded Skittles that have Whopper tendencies. But yeah, it was... They had a couple of other things there too, like their gummy bears were pretty nice, and I like those sour gummy worms, because they were like big and crunchy, and they just kind of like melted in your mouth. But that's kind of the main things for the vendors. Like it was either comic books, or like pop toy collectibles, or like a couple of board game dice, and like just 2 people for food. And then your typical mall operating hour. So whatever stores were already in there at the mall, like those were already open. The food court was open, so that was available, but like you're looking at maybe like $12 a meal at the minimum.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so I walked around and it took me maybe about 15 to 30 minutes to like actually like look and really peruse and like window shop through the vendors and like actually made a full-on lap for everything. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me go sign up for the cosplay contest, because why not? I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to go off and win, and I'm not going to I'll look forward to it in case something's there, but it's like, hey, I came out here, I'm dressed up, might as well go show it off, right?
Right.
So I go, yeah, just be like, hey, I'm here, if people like it, then, whatever. If not, then, whatever. I'm here, I'm trying to have fun. So I go off and I sign up, and the sheet is something that was different from the previous time and the first time that they ran the con. Because the first time they're just like, hey, here's this player. Okay, now here's this person. Okay, you're going next. Okay, you're here. And they just kind of like waltzed us onto the stage. It's like, hey, you're up here, do a little twirl, come down. Next person, get up there, do a little twirl, come down.
And they gathered them. Dance, make a little love, get down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like not even that much either though. So, and like the last time they ran it, it was like, oh, okay, it's just like one guy on the mic looking around at everybody. Who were the winners? I guess you, and you, and you. You look pretty cool, and that was that. It's like, there was no actual,
you look good.
Like, there was no actual, like, looking at, like, what effort was put into it, or, like, this other thing, or, like, how true is it to the character, or things like that. It's just like, oh, I guess you and you and you. There you go, that's your winners. Woo! Cheer, everybody! It's like, no. So this time here ended up coming up as, they had a sheet, And the sheet had like your name / whatever you want to be called. Where's your character's name? Where are they from? Is there anything special that you want to tell us about it? If you win something and you're not here, here's the contact info. And it was stated that the MC was going to announce all of this as you're coming up to help describe what your character and whatnot that you did with it was. And
no.
there was a bit of a problem with that because you could not understand shit that the MC was saying. He just sounded like you could tell there was no.
Oh, well, that's even worse. I was gonna give him like an out, like, oh, he's wearing a mask.
It wasn't even a problem that he really had. It was something with the AV system and how many people were literally there. Like, even when I was standing in front of the stage and it was like being announced for the winners and whatnot, you could not understand people. It was like, oh, hey, here's a voice, and you can see that there are words coming out of my mouth. Oh, I think I maybe heard a cosplay contest there, but it just was either too low for a volume that you just can't understand or hear it, even if you're standing right in front of the speakers, or something was off with their balance there. So everything that the MC was saying basically got thrown out the window.
Great.
Got thrown out the window. So the judges, who there were actually judges there, were asking repetitive questions that should have already been solved. So I know that that's not really a problem on the judges themselves. That's just a problem with the mic setup and whatever was going on with the con, and like something to improve.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a problem with one of the judges themselves. I felt there seems to be some kind of stigma in the cosmic community to where you're not some cosplayers around will consider you not actually a cosplayer if you don't literally make every single item of your cosplay.
Oh, so toxic. You didn't put the hard work in type shit.
Gatekeepers.
Yeah,
Yes, gatekeepers. Thank you. That's the word for it. And I felt that this main judge, and I say main because like they were more established, more well known than the other two, and they apparently like came from another state to come by and judge or whatnot. But I felt like I was being gatekept by them, and because I pre-purchased or like it was a gift, it was a purchased cosplay for both days. Actually, I wore a purchased cosplay for both days. That I was considered not good enough and was just kind of thrown off the stage.
Oh my god! They were you like pretty much harassed? Not harassed. Pretty much looked down upon and like you walked off the stage, or like did they actually like say yeah you don't belong here and then told you to leave?
The first day with my M4A1 Mod 3 here, it didn't really feel like that.
Okay.
It was more like, oh, that's kind of cool. Come up a little bit closer, that way we can see some detail there, and that was kind of about it. Okay. The next one that I had was a purchase commission here of a Endor Trooper Leia. And boyfriend and I were going to go off here and do like a Luke Leia combo, or like Luke and Endor Trooper combo. Mm-hmm. Like couples type of thing. And it was handmade. All of it is handmade. It's like literally made. It just wasn't made by us. And I wanted to at least get their name out there. So I threw it on the little sheet for the second day. It's like, hey, this was a purchase cosplay, but it was handmade by these people. So, like, if you like it, like, go give them some business, whatever. And then I'm just going to have fun as my little Leia from Endor. And I get up there, and they're like, oh, wow, that looks great and whatnot. And, like, how did you make that? And I'm like, one, the MC already stated that it was a purchase cosplay. And it was handmade. I don't know how they did it, but it is still a purchase cosplay. And then when I said, hey, this was a purchase, they're like, okay, thank you.
Okay. Why do they do that? And you're not the first person to experience that either. Like, it's a
No.
whole like con wide thing. Like, as soon as they find that out, oh, that's a whole different thing. I don't. We should probably stop doing that in like the community or in that community. But you know what? To be fair, that's not even just like a cosplay community either. Gatekeeping is just a whole thing within our community. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I hope like going forward, that's not going to be the case, and it doesn't change your view over like being a cosplayer though. It seems like it hasn't. So
no, it's just like, hey, people are gonna be assholes. It might not have been meant to be seeming like that, but it definitely felt like that to me, especially when the winners of the contest were clearly people who already purchased their clothing.
Yeah. So
one of them,
the only one. So
yeah, one of them. I think they ended up having an up on me for makeup. With like, yeah, fine, whatever. Like that day, I just threw on some mascara and called it good. And but one of the top 3 people who were winning with that day was like pre-purchased cargo pants, a tank top, and a gauze bandage, and then possibly a purchased or created. I'm not sure. It looked way too perfect to be handmade, but like I don't know. Maybe their skill is hella good. It's whatever. But it could be a pre-purchased type of thing, especially like the backing. At least is what it looked like. It looked like it was a pre-purchased thing, and that one went off and went off and went off. Versus, hey, this was handmade. It just wasn't handmade by me.
Yeah. So what? I don't understand like what was the problem with any of that. So whatever.
So yeah, but the second day I was just in a trash mood, and I'm like, hey, I want to leave. Like, that's pretty much it. The first day was like okay because they didn't go off and like treated me like I was shit, or like I was looked down upon because it was purchased. But I think it was also because it's a character that hardly anyone knows, at least in the area that I'm at.
Right.
Even though there's an anime that was just released of them.
Oh my god. So, would you definitely try to do another competition again in the future, or do you think you might like wait a little bit before you start doing another one next time you go to a con?
I would probably go off and do it again, because it's just kind of a thing of, hey, you're emotionally reacting to this right now, but logically, we are all just people, and there are bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. I'm doing a cast over here. I mean...
Yeah, Mom. Shut up.
It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, what was I... Oh, contest and would I do one again? Yes. Yes. I would, just because it's, hey, people are going to be shit, and they're just going to be people.
Yeah.
And it's not really... I can't control people, which is totally fine. We shouldn't really be able to control people as it is.
Because at least, like, when you purchased yours was an actual commission, and you are out there letting people know the truth that, hey, this is not mine, but I can give you information on where I got that from and who.
Yes. Yep.
God knows everybody will commission an artist and then not say who the artist is, or steal their art completely.
I will likely like to be halfway through the publication.
Thank God that at least you're truthful about it. So.
Yes, that's a big thing for that. It's I don't understand that when like someone does something for someone else that you don't like give them out, because like that's a big thing. Is if you're like taking photos of something that's for free or whatever, it's like, hey, like let them know who it is. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Whatnot, sure. And those who really don't, And it's like, oh yeah, I'm taking credit for all this stuff. This is all me. It's like, no. Like, I would rather know that you went off and bought something, but someone else made it for you, versus, oh yeah, I can totally do all this. And you can totally get commissions from me and whatnot, and then you get one, and it's like total crap.
It's that feeling for me, like when, say you're in a group and you tell a joke, and then someone says the same joke but louder, and people laugh at that joke instead of what you said.
Yes.
That is like a feeling that just resonates with me, and I hate when I see things like that out here, that people just like. There's a story on TikTok right now about this guy who made like a statue that was like inspired to Disney's like tiki tiki statue like area. I forgot what the name of the ride is, but he made that, and then someone pointed out to him, "Oh, Disney just released their new line of like tiki statues, and it looks just like your statue."
Oh no!
What?
So turns out the main art director started like slapping people's arts as his, and gotten away with it for years without anybody pointing out to him that, hey, that's not your original art. This is my original thing. And pretty much Disney just responds back after like multiple people came out saying that this is this guy's art. Kept saying, "We here at Disney do not take other people's arts. Most of our arts are by our own art directors and are commissioned by our own people. We do not steal art." And then people are like, "Oh yeah, well here is facts. Like here is a signature under this statue. This has that same type chip." And then they looked into it, and then they immediately deleted any like information on that statue going forward. So pretty much they know that their art director is a piece of shit. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, other than that, like bullshitty-ish experience there, overall the con was just boring to me. Like they had D&D sessions just kind of like off in a store somewhere, but like either the sign wasn't big enough or there was too many people that it could not be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it wasn't like flashy enough to get someone's attention for it. And it's just like, yeah. And then the only other activity, if you will, that was offered was what my boyfriend was offering. There was like nothing else. It was just shop or be here for the contest.
Right.
And it's like, I guess it's better than what it was before, but like, if you're gonna try and expand to make this better, you literally have no room or something. So, yeah, other cons I believe I'll be more likely and wanting to go to. Like, we've got a plan to go to Motor City Con when that's coming up here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm totally up for going to the other cons and such. It's just I just hope that they're not straight up, hey, bring all your money and then spend it all on this one item.
Right. I think you're gonna like the Motor City one. That one is more has more life to it, and you'll get a lot of people who will stop you and just want to take a lot of pictures with you. The year that I went as a character from Hotline Miami, I had like a bunch of people stop me and took pictures with me. I think if someone told me that if I go back in some of the archive photos from that con, I can see myself like in one of the backgrounds of it.
Hey.
Because one of the photographers stopped me and wanted a picture. So that was like tons of fun. So I will hopefully you get that same experience there as well. And that's the same con I told you about, where I met like Stanley before he passed, and then
Okay.
all the cast from Walking Dead was there one year. So yeah, highly recommend to anybody if they haven't gone to the Motor City Comic Con and live in Michigan, go to that con. It's really good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, is that it's a lot more, like, accepting or overall, like, hey, that looks so cool, I don't know how the hell you did it, or I don't care how you did it, but you rock it, let's go! And it's, like, more uplifting, I guess? A better overall environment is what I've heard. So it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
so...
There's not a lot of gatekeeping and other stupid bullshit, so...
Man, it just sounds like you got put into the fucking con with all the sweat lords of cosplay.
Pretty much.
Well, I know that one of the other ones, though, one of the other judges is a friend of one of my friends, so, like, but this other one that came out of state just seemed like they were, in control of everything because I'm better than everybody else or something like that. That's at least the feeling that I got from it. She may not have meant to do that, but that's what it felt like.
Mm.
Anyway, that was my overall
con experience.
Yeah, con experience. So I see somebody here in my chat that just kind of popped up, and I needed to report them. So
okay, yeah,
the dumb bot accounts, you know, they're like, "Hey, boost your followers," and I'm like, "No, fuck off."
No.
Doing pretty much good on my own, thanks. So, yeah, okay. We have a little bit more time here.
Sure.
I have like one more thing before we end for today. So weirdest thing that I spoke to one of my friends who was trying to look into an IT position at my job. He told me some of the questions that they were asked, and I want to play a little game with you guys, and see if you get confused on the questions themselves, and if you think like the questions themselves are really dumb. Quick question. How many rats do you think are in New York?
Not nearly as many as people say there are, because I listened to a podcast where they talk specifically about the math for that, like, there's more rats than people in New York City, or never farther than 5 feet away from one thing. But I can't quite remember exactly how many.
Okay.
I was gonna say something along those lines. It's like more than you can see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just like the generalized answer there. It's like, how many rats do you think? More than you can see.
Right.
Oh God. I opened a video
How
on
many
Instagram.
more? We're not sure, but there's definitely more than just that one that you got your eye staring at.
Right. The other question is, ice cream truck starts selling a lot of ice cream in the area. Crime goes down. Why is that?
An ice cream truck starts selling what? You cut out there a little moment.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Ice cream truck opens up and starts selling ice cream. Crime goes down. Why is that?
I don't know, man.
Generalized happiness of the universe, or not the universe, my god, a little bit big there. Generalized happiness of the neighborhood goes up because there's some kind of mental illness going on within the neighborhood, because what they live in is shit.
Okay, that's a good question.
I was gonna say more along the lines of, like, an ice cream truck is never gonna be in a place where there is gonna be a high crime rate.
That's a good one. Okay.
That one too, yeah. That's probably the one more the answer that they're looking for. But the first thing I thought of was like the social, economical, classist system that's going on in here. So it's like, hey, liven up people's lives a little bit and like actually provide and help for them. You'll see crime go down.
This is how we need to fix the Ukraine thing. We need to airdrop a bunch of ice cream trucks.
Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pops, just like, ah!
Here, if you find the one that looks like SpongeBob, we'll declare you the winner.
Can you find Waldo in the sea of SpongeBob's? Hashtag like and comment if you find it.
What?
Okay, and then last question. Are there more wheels or more doors in the world?
Wheels versus doors?
Yes.
There's got to be more wheels.
Interesting.
I feel like this is a weird way to say like workers versus opportunity versus like mindless workers versus opportunity. I feel like it was kind of going into that, like the wheels are the things that are always turning, always constant. That thing that's just kind of like there, and doors are like, hey, that every single door there's an opportunity for you or whatnot. If one door closes, go open another one, type of thing. But like, I'm not really sure how to answer it beyond that.
I was thinking more along the lines of every car has 4 wheels minimum, but not 4 doors minimum. In fact, some cars only have 1 door.
So, someone else said that if you go into an office, there are more wheelchairs with wheels in them.
Exactly. If you dip into wheelchairs and bikes and everything else, then there's more. Well, oh shit, because every building has to have a door.
Yeah, exactly. And what constitutes as a door? If you put like an item in front of like an entryway, would that count as a door? Like if you put a boulder in front of a cave, is that not a door?
Or what about if you just call something a door?
Exactly.
Technically, a curtain could be a door too.
Exactly.
Or just even the door frame. Hey, go through the door. Okay, there's no door attached here. And it's still a door.
It is a doorway.
Right.
It's still the door to enter into something.
Exactly.
And then,
it's all perspective, man. The only thing that the doors aren't real, man. It's your mind that's real. You got to open your mind before you can open a door.
Cut to Jaden Smith just saying, "How? Wow."
Oh my
god. And someone also said that do cogs in like a clock count as a wheel? Because then there's a lot more clocks in the world as well. So
if we're considering like cogs and gears and things in a clock to be a wheel, why not game discs or hard drives?
Oh yeah, because you can sit there and you can toss a CD down the street and it rolls.
Yep. Or even this little tube of like hand moisturizer here that I got. Technically could be a wheel. It goes like this.
So yeah.
I roll it across my hand here.
Is a ball not a wheel? There are like some machines that just roll on like one giant ball.
Yeah, like what about Omni wheels? Like they go in all the directions.
It is technically a wheel by virtue of name.
Well, it goes on like 2 different axes, and you can combine them to like swerve around.
Exactly.
That was fun.
I would consider that a wheel. That might be a progressive school of thought, but I would consider that a wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so I asked, what the fuck? What does any of that have to do with an IT position? And he just simply said, "Oh, they just want you to think on your feet." Okay.
They just want you to think on your feet.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I mean, when like one of my more recent jobs here, they asked, "You have a cup of M&Ms, or sorry, a handful of M&Ms. How do you eat them?" And it's like, they're M&Ms. They all taste the same, but like, why are they in my hand? They're gonna melt.
Right.
And I don't care if they're candy coated; they're still gonna be melty as fuck with the chocolate inside. So yes, M&Ms can melt.
So yeah, like it's weird questions like that. It was like, I guess that does count as because they don't want you to just do like sit there and like, oh, wow, this is the tough question and stuff like that. They'll accept any answer, I guess, and there's no like wrong answers when you're thinking outside the box. So I just thought that was like a weird group of questions that I just wanted to bring up, especially about the wheel versus doors thing. You can really go on and on about like that philosophical question. So, I mean, is the Earth technically not a giant wheel? I mean, we're revolving around like a ball of light. So
yeah, exactly. Would the rings of Saturn then be considered? Well, they're not a solid object.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just because a wheel may not be fully a solid object doesn't mean.
I believe the definition of wheel lies in what it is used for. If it is used to conduct motion or to be in motion by creating friction against the ground, then I believe it's a wheel. If it's just a circular thing that doesn't interact with anything in order to move, I do not believe it's a wheel.
So then what about time being a wheel?
Time is a flat circle, not a wheel.
Okay.
I always thought time was linear, so it would be a line. But
No, it's a flat circle. Everything that has happened will happen.
damn.
We just aren't in the right perspective to like understand that it's like happening or has happened already, even though it's in the future for us. Type of weirdo stuff.
Time is a construct, so none of this fucking matters.
I thought time was the fourth dimension.
That time was in a bottle, but you know, we all have our perspective on it.
No, you got that one. It's a genie in a bottle.
What? Fucking cheat. Okay. So yeah.
You haven't heard that song? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think of like, how did I finish? I forgot the rest of that song.
Genie in a bottle, baby.
But yeah, but good questions, I guess. That's all I had, personally. Did you guys have anything else before we end today's session?
Is a Pop-Tart a calzone?
Fuck you. And is a hot dog a sandwich? No, it fucking isn't. Okay, fuck you. Okay. What is your definition of a sandwich then?
No, honestly, I don't believe that. I don't believe that hot dogs are sandwiches.
Okay, like maybe a taco, maybe.
Like, I would consider a sandwich like two things being smushed into another object type of thing.
Right.
So like people can be sandwiched into a train. Like it's sort of a sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's more like the action of doing the thing or like describing a thing that's happening.
Is a sandwich defined by intention? Like if you made it as a sandwich, is it still a sandwich? And it like if I take a hot dog and I make it saying this is a sandwich, does that make it a sandwich?
I mean, yeah, I would consider that one probably.
Is a hamburger like a sandwich?
A hamburger is absolutely a sandwich.
No, I'd argue that. Yeah, that'd be a sandwich, and I would think hot dogs would be hero, or I think it's called
a gyro.
Yeah.
Gyro?
Well, no, because it's not on flatbread.
Oh yeah, or maybe a sub. You could be a sub, but
It could be a sub.
Long.
Yeah, but then again, what do they call sub sandwich? What do they? This fucking sub sandwich.
Sandwiches, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different type of sandwich.
Okay.
We went from like weird ass flirting to like no. We started off with like social media bullcrap that came out, and then it was like weird ass flirting / interactions we've had with people who are trying to get our approval, and then it went into I think that was like a little bit of a snippet of like conspiracy and supernatural stuff that's kind of happened to us.
Gentrification.
It was very low.
Yeah, we do.
And then just like, oh my gosh, and then that weirdo,
horrid, disgusting swamp person.
Yeah, yep. And then it went into the con experience, and then gatekeeping, and then now we're just like sandwiches.
We have a little fun. It's called We Have a Little Fun.
I do want to throw out a quick shout out here, though, over on my side of the stream here. We've got someone called Polo Knights in here who just came in and followed and came in and is like, hey, saying hi and such. So you caught us a little bit at the end here, but hey, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, you can catch the VOD later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have it up on mine. I think Caleb, you're going off and streaming on your end too here.
Yes. So you'll catch my end, and then we'll also have it up on all other platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, and RSS feed. So go check us out there. If we'll have it all recorded and set up. Hopefully, I get that up by Monday. So. But yeah, shout out on my end, Ice Wolf. It's been a while since I see you, so thank you for coming by and talk about Assassin's Creed on my end for some reason. And shout out to Tiny Corn Dog, who just came in and visited by and started chatting with our conversation. He had his own comments about the guy who wanted gentrification and stuff like that.
Oh, what do we got?
Wow, you stay
let me hear those.
Yeah, he was like, I think dude is feeling himself a little too much, and like, yeah, that's about right.
It's funny because that kind of leads me into this question I had. I guess just to kind of tie it off, why is it that people who champion for white pride and white national, why is it always the worst examples of people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's always weak chins and like acne, bad hairlines. It's like, yeah, you guys are like, what?
It goes for the fact that they were probably shunned from their group, therefore they think they're angry about that, and so now they want to go up against other groups and saying that they're like the right group. That they should feel pride in themselves. So, like, why do you guys get to feel pride in yourselves and I can't feel pride in myself? Some little dick energy,
Yeah, for real.
Or at least low ego, or like high ego but like low confidence type of thing.
Exactly.
Because like we really can't help like the whole like little dick thing. Like we shouldn't shame people for having something like that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, little dicks that have high confidence. I think.
No, more power to you. You're smiling in the face of adversity, and that's what we value here at Something Wicked Podcast.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, I was short with you. I mean, small.
Fucking god.
Bruh.
Damn it,
Caleb, you need to calm it down with the microaggressions.
And on that, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming out. Go check us out on all listening platforms. Again, we are Something Wicked Podcast, so go check us out on Twitter. That is at Something Wicked Podcast 1. I also have the link down below in case people couldn't find that. Also, you can find my Twitter, and I have a direct link to the podcast site. Again, shout out to Ice Wolf. I hope you get through Assassin's Creed and have fun with it. It's very long and shitty, but hopefully they'll change that formula. So, other than that, go ahead and go follow our other platforms. I'm, of course, if you're watching me on Twitch, CalebtheFish. Go follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube. All the same mediums. Only CalebtheFish 1 is on YouTube and CalebtheFish 0 is on TikTok. It's confusing, but I always have the link down below. And I'll also get Augie and Ryan's IP once they shout themselves out. You guys want to shout yourselves out? Where can we find you, lovely people?
I just threw. Oh, my bad.
Sorry,
my bad.
No, you're good. Ladies first.
I just threw in links to both my socials and as well as the Spotify link over to the podcast too. Mm-hmm. So I threw in the Spotify link over in the chat here. I've got my socials there. You can find this group project here on my social there too, as well as if you enjoyed me for whatever reason, then boo, come hang with me. And I've also got Caleb over here. His Twitch profile's in my About page here, too, or I think it's probably down below. I think that's how this works. I'm still learning. It's fine.
Ryan, where can we find you? And
you can find me on pretty much every social media platform. It's Troublealwaysinbound. I'm on Instagram under that. I'm on Steam under that. I think I just go by Trouble on Steam. But anyway, I'm everywhere. My Twitter is Troublealwaysinbound, at Troublealwaysinbound. And just a few plugs. Please, for the love of God, read the thing I'm working on. You can be assured now it's 100% racist free. for the time being, until another insidious dickhead creeps their way into my fucking circle and begins trying to influence me through brainwashing.
I thought you were gonna say until...
Shout out to everybody I'm working with over at the OTH Comic Collective. Those guys are great. All their stuff's cool. They're super awesome creators, and you need to just read their stuff. I'm sure I'll get a link to our site, but if you go on there, you'll find something you like. Hopefully, it's my shit that you like, and yeah, but you'll undoubtedly find something to read over there. And everybody just have a great day.
Yeah.
Keep doing you, and don't be racist.
Don't be racist.
I am a building. Well, I am good to go if you guys are all right to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Awesome.
Or I'm sorry. Have a good day. It's...
Good day. Yes, that's right. It's 12 in the afternoon.
Yeah. All right. Peace out, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Hope to see y'all around.